these guys can do it, I really question what anyone else can do. Okay. I made the point earlier about the split of business for Amadeus. Okay? Amadeus has a distribution business and an IT business. Now there's guys here today like Christian Schilling who can talk very well about the distribution part, Amadeus hotels and cars and whatever. I'm not an expert in this area. If an airline chooses to work with them, and by all knowledge I've got, it's a great product. But sometimes an airline doesn't choose to work with Amadeus on those products. And in the case of Air Pacific, they had an existing contract with Expedia for a white label website. Okay? I'm not in the business of telling an airline because you choose Amadeus for 100% of your distribution that you can't have the benefits of the IT. My job is to sell IT and to make airlines more money with IT regardless of who they choose to work with. So in this case, this example here, I'm selling more Expedia hotels. But that's fine. Okay? Because that's I do what I'm told to do. Sometimes my wife might disagree, but when it comes to the airline business, you tell me what to do, I do it. Okay? This is a bit contentious, but I'm going to tell you why. Okay? I really think what we're doing with Air Pacific is very innovative. Okay? A lot of this stuff was my vision originally, but I couldn't have done it on my own. And I needed guys like Justin Appy and Mark Hopp at Air Pacific to buy into the vision. Because when I had a vision for massively increasing ancillary revenue sales, they weren't the first airline that I went to. I went to a couple of others and was told, what you're saying sounds really interesting, but we've got so much on our plate right now, it's not a priority for us, you know, we're really interested in it, but it sounds really good what we're talking about. Air Pacific had the vision to follow what I was saying, and now I'm going to talk about the results they achieved. Here's what we did. Okay? First of all, we looked at hotels. Phase 1, really basic implementation. Okay? I'm only looking at inbound passengers. So for a start, I'm only working with half the P&Rs. So I'm trying to prove that what I can do is massively increase their hotel sales. And I've got basically one arm tied behind my back because I haven't got the outbound traffic. I've only got the inbound P&Rs. And I've still got to try and come up with a decent number. When I did this, I thought maybe by better targeting the customer at the right time, getting them an offer, segmenting the customer base a bit, maybe if I increase their hotels by 15 or 20%, I'll be pretty happy with this. Okay? I mean, maybe 30%, I'll be over the moon. Now, I talked about I talked earlier on when data comes back, it didn't meet my expectations. The first reaction was shock, horror, how do I explain this, what do I do with it? When I got the data back from Air Pacific and the direct marketing to passengers for ancillary revenue for hotels, these guys have been selling Expedia hotels for 1 year. They had a 1 year track record of white label Expedia hotels. So I had a good base to say, okay, this is my benchmark, this is what I'm working against. I got one hand tied behind my back, I try something different, I implement it, immediate results. This was an increase in sales for Air Pacific from implementing the sort of stuff that I've been talking about. I'm going to put the number up on the screen, and then I need a quick drink of water. This was the opposite shock to what I talked about before. There was no way in my wildest dreams that I thought by just segmenting their customer base a bit better, targeting customers at the right time, sending an offer based on just looking at the point of departure and the P&R, getting an email template with the right hotels, and the right currency, the right customers, was going to give me anywhere near those results. And so I challenge anyone in this room today to tell me now that, hey, we've got a lot on our plate, this is not really a priority for us. This is not rocket science. It really is easy, and if a carrier with 6 claims can do it, I have no reason to believe there's it's not going to work for a bigger carrier as well. Now, I make the caveat, the last point there, that maybe this will change. As we implement more, as we do more over time, this is just a very early day statistic. Maybe it'll go up to 300, maybe it'll drop to 200, maybe it'll drop to 150% over the longer term. I've got no idea. All I know is that it is going to be a very, very big number. And for people who pull the slides afterwards, I've got nothing to hide on this slide. This is such a good news story. All the fine print is there. You want to see how I've calculated the number. So basically, when I say 243%, that's 3.43 times the number of hotels as before. That's what the two numbers are. You can talk about 243% increase, or you can say they sell now 3.43 times as many hotels as before. I'm getting near the end of the presentation, and I think it's all downhill from here because that was the climax, that was the highlight of the presentation. Now I try and talk about the vision stuff, about where we're going with this, and it's never going to be as exciting as 243% increase in hotel sales. The destination content, this area, there is massive potential in this, but I have not seen one airline that's got it right. This should be sold like crazy, and it's just the stats that I'm seeing on the take-up rates of this are pretty low. But don't give up because there is massive potential in this product. Combine that with mobile. Mobile's going to be big. It's maybe not what we think. It's not always the high-tech stuff that really using the dollars, okay? The people who push mobile talk about GPS and whatever. But for me, there's no complex algorithms. All I'm doing is working off PNR that's been around for probably 30 or 40 years, the same technology. I'm just using it in a different way. Okay? So don't always think that the sexiest technology is the most profitable technology to go after. But here's the exception. This is an area that has massive potential. Okay? I don't technically work in social networking, but I follow this space very closely, and I have a firm belief that there is a role for probably three or four airlines in the world to dominate this, to own it. No one's doing it well at the moment. Probably the best example I've seen is Air France KLM with Fluidity, but maybe they're 5 to 10% of what's going to be required to actually win the game in the end. The prize on this is huge, and it's tied into the whole ancillary revenue thing because when you get it right, you will make a lot more money, but it's going to take a real commitment of the highest level to put an airline. But gee, that is a conversation I would love to have with someone who's got the vision to do this in the airline. And finally, and I'll let my colleagues later talk more about this point, don't forget the GDS. Even though I'm on the IT side of the business, still have to pay my salary, and they're spending a lot of money in this area, and there's a few guys here today who can tell you that some of that stuff, it's unfortunately it's not me. So final slide. The stuff that I'm talking about here today, it's not only for major airlines that carry 6 planes can do it. It's not only for high penetration internet sites, because I can do it through a call centre as well. It's not only for Amadeus hosted. I'm working with carriers hosted in Sabre, WorldSpan, EDS Shares, Condor, like a business system. It doesn't need to be with Amadeus. But it is for airlines that are serious about optimising the conversion rates and sitting in other revenues. I really enjoyed the time here today, and I hope you got a bit out of the presentation, and thank you very much for your time today.
Yes, I would like to become a natural owner immediately, and I would think that you would be able to help any of the airlines to define the parameters that would define the select criteria for hotels based on PNR data. Is that so? Yeah, you confirm that? Yeah. And that would be individual based on, let's say, the destination area, or it could be different by whatever the carrier would like to have in those business rules.
If it's in the face of the PNR, you can use it for marketing purposes.
Thank you very much. I think this is a brilliant idea. Everyone has the PNR. Here's the data that you could use immediately without having any specific IT sitting on